At last I can be rid of this trash. My mother-in-law, Emily, spat out these venomous words, her eyes filled with contempt. I stood motionless, her cruel words reverberating in my mind. For 7 long years I had endured her disdain, hoping for change. But my fragile hope crumbled when I told my husband, Mark, that I wanted a divorce. Emily seized the moment, hurling insults that exposed her true feelings. It became painfully clear that I would never find a place in this family. I turned to Mark, clinging to a flicker of hope that he might defend me, that he might see my pain and stand by my side. Instead, his cold words struck deeper than Emily's. "Mom's right," he shrugged indifferently. "You're useless. Just leave." His gaze was as frigid as hers, unfeeling. In that moment something inside me changed. A sense of calm washed over me, snuffing out the burning humiliation. 7 years of misery, trying to prove my worth to people who never valued me. "I understand now," I whispered. "If my own husband can't see my worth, then I have no reason to stay. My presence here only hurts me and everyone else." For the first time I felt the power in my decision. The doorbell rang, and I ignored the hateful shouts coming from behind me. Emily's and Mark's voices blended into a cruel chorus. With steady steps I walked to the door, unlatched the chain and opened it. The shouting ceased abruptly, swallowed by silence. "My name is Sarah. I'm 33, a stay-at-home mom. Life has never been easy, and neither has my marriage. Growing up, I learned early that love could be fragile. My parents divorced when I was young, and that shaped my childhood." "I'm sorry, Sarah," my father had said when I was 8. "Your mom and I are going to live apart now." I stared at him, heartbroken. "But you get along so well," I protested. "Why?" My mom stroked my hair, trying to calm me. "It's already decided, sweetheart. We both love you. You'll stay with me, and your dad will visit." Tears welled in my eyes as I clung to my father. "Will I ever see you again?" He hugged me tightly. "Of course you will. I'll always visit. I promise." Though I didn't fully grasp it, their reassurance gave me some comfort. We moved into my grandparents' home, where they raised me while my mom worked long hours. Their love never wavered, but there was always a sense of emptiness. I never had the heart to tell them how lonely I felt. Years later, my father explained their divorce. "We loved each other, Sarah. But there were things that made it impossible to stay together. Though it hurt, it gave me hope that love could endure, even when things fell apart." After college, I worked at a department store, hoping to better understand my mom. 3 years later, the store's owner introduced me to his son, Mark. "Sarah, you're such a hard worker," he said. "I'd love for you to meet my son. Maybe you two would be perfect for each other." Unsure about marriage, I agreed to meet him. Mark was set to inherit the family business, and his father thought we'd be a good match. In our early conversations, I shared my fears about love and trust, shaped by my parents' divorce. Mark listened with patience. "Your mom sounds like an amazing woman," he said. "She must love you, even if it wasn't always obvious." His understanding resonated with me. "I felt lonely as a child, too," he confessed. "That's why I know we can build a loving family." His sincerity reassured me, and soon we were engaged. We moved into a house arranged by his parents, and I thought we were starting a perfect life together. A year later, I found out I was pregnant. Mark and his parents were overjoyed. I was thrilled too, eager to create the family I had always dreamed of. But everything changed when we learned I was having a girl. I'll never forget my father-in-law's reaction when I told him. "A girl?" he asked, his expression darkening. "Why couldn't you have a boy to carry on the family name?" His words were cold, filled with contempt. Emily, who had always been warm, now shared his disdain. I looked to Mark, hoping he would defend me, but he didn't. He ignored my pleas to stand up to his parents. Before long, Mark stopped listening to me altogether. His silence gave his parents free rein to escalate their insults. When I suggested going to my parents' home for the birth, their hostility intensified. "You're part of this family now, Sarah," Emily snapped. "You don't have a home to return to, and being pregnant doesn't mean you get to skip out on housework." Despite feeling nauseous and exhausted, Emily insisted that I continue with all the chores. "Pregnancy isn't an illness," she said. "Housework is a wife's duty." One day, overwhelmed and unwell, I folded the laundry imperfectly. Emily seized the opportunity to criticize. "You're doing it all wrong. It'll wrinkle." "I'll fix it later," I snapped. Her face flushed with anger. "How dare you talk back to me?" From that moment, her treatment of me worsened. Yet I held on. Even after giving birth to my daughter, my in-laws insisted they would handle everything, but instead they kept me isolated. They even told my mom not to worry, assuring her they would take care of everything. In reality, I spent those early days of motherhood completely alone, longing for my family's support. When I returned home from the hospital, I was shocked. My in-laws had moved into our house without asking. Worse still, they had taken over the nursery I had carefully prepared, relegating my newborn and me to a small storage room. Despite my fragile condition, they treated me like a servant, demanding I cook and clean while they relaxed. To outsiders, they painted a different picture. "Our poor daughter-in-law is still recovering," they'd say. "We moved in to help." But in reality, they did nothing to help. Mark, who had taken paternity leave, spent all his time with his parents, ignoring me and our baby. I began to suspect his indifference wasn't just about our family. There might be someone else, I thought. I considered divorce, but I didn't want my daughter to experience the same loneliness I had. I believed that if I endured the hardship, I could protect her. But I was wrong. My in-laws' obsession with appearances meant they treated me and my daughter well in front of others, creating the illusion of a perfect family. Neighbors admired them, praising how kind they were. Then Mark began pressuring me to have a second child. "We need a son to carry on the family name," he insisted. "People are starting to ask about it. We need to handle this right away." Mark's parents snapped at me, scolding me harshly. "You can't even give us a son or manage a household properly," Emily scoffed. "Why did we even let you marry Mark? You're such a failure." Despite everything, I did my best to take care of my daughter, Katie, and protect her from the toxic environment surrounding us. By the time she was 7, my in-laws and husband had essentially ignored her. She was terrified of them, shrinking at the sound of their raised voices. I showered her with love, hoping it was enough. But then something happened that shattered me. One morning, while preparing breakfast, I heard Katie crying upstairs. Her sobs were different this time. More frantic, panicked. I rushed upstairs. At the top of the stairs, I saw Emily standing over Katie, her hand raised, about to strike. "Emily!" I screamed, rushing to pull my daughter into my arms. Katie clung to me, sobbing uncontrollably. I turned on Emily, fury overtaking me. "What were you trying to do to my daughter?" I demanded. Emily shrugged, clicking her tongue in a dismissive gesture. "Nothing," she said, walking away as though nothing had happened. Just then, Mark appeared from the bedroom, clearly irritated. "Mark," I cried, "your mother just tried to hit our daughter." He sighed, mimicking his mother's uncaring attitude. "What did Katie do to upset her? It's probably your fault for not raising her properly. Stop making a fuss about this nonsense." Without waiting for a response, he turned and walked away, leaving me there holding my distraught child. We retreated to the tiny storage room where we'd been living since Katie was born. I sat on the bed, gently brushing her hair to calm her, my heart pounding with a mix of rage and hopelessness. "Sweetie, can you tell Mommy what happened?" I asked. Through her tears, Katie explained that Emily had called her upstairs, away from me, and threatened her. When Katie hesitated, Emily had used a precious handkerchief I'd made for her as leverage. "Grandma took this from me," Katie said, handing me the small, torn piece of fabric. "She said if I didn't come upstairs, I wouldn't get it back." That handkerchief was more than just a piece of fabric. It was a symbol of my love for Katie, and Emily had used it to manipulate her. That was the moment I knew I couldn't stay any longer. I had to protect my daughter. I held Katie close, relieved I had gotten to her in time. That day, I called my mother and told her everything. She was horrified but immediately offered to take Katie in. I dropped Katie off at school, packed her belongings, and drove to my mom's house. I knew she would be safe there. That evening, I decided it was time to confront Mark and my in-laws. As I approached the living room, I overheard their conversation, and the coldness of their words sent a chill down my spine. "You should have been more careful, Mom. This morning was too close." I didn't think Sarah would come running so quickly, Mark said. I thought I had more time, Emily replied carelessly. Their voices were chillingly indifferent, as if they were discussing something trivial. Next time we'll be more discreet, Mark added with a sneer. Maybe we'll make her pull weeds in the heat. That'll teach her. Emily laughed darkly. The realization hit me like a punch to the gut. They were conspiring to hurt my daughter, and they didn't even care. I had endured so much, convincing myself it was for Katie's sake, but not anymore. Katie deserved love, safety, and peace, none of which existed in that house. I called my father and he promised to help. As I packed my things, I remembered a conversation I had had with Katie earlier that day. Katie, would you be okay if Mommy and Daddy lived in different places? I had asked gently. Yes, Mom. I want to live with you, she replied. Her words struck me. I had been so focused on my own pain that I hadn't realized how much she had been hiding. That evening, as my husband and in-laws shouted at me to leave, the doorbell rang. I ignored their insults and walked to the door. When I opened it, my father was standing there, calm and unwavering. Sarah, I'm here to take you home. Let's go, he said. When Mark saw him, his smug expression faltered. What are you doing here? He stammered. It's been a long time, Mark. I'm here for my daughter, my father replied, his voice steady with controlled anger. Mr. Johnson, wait, there's been some mistake, Mark's father interjected frantically. There's no mistake, my father cut him off. I've heard enough. This ends now. Mark and his parents froze, realizing the gravity of the situation. My father was a respected businessman, and their biggest supplier. It's unfortunate, my father continued, but I'll be reevaluating our business relationship. The color drained from their faces. Mr. Johnson, please, Mark's father stammered. This is all a misunderstanding. Sarah is just upset. My father raised his hand, silencing him. Enough. I've seen how you've treated my daughter and granddaughter. This will not continue. Turning to me, his expression softened. Sarah, let's go. Without another word, my father gathered my bags and led me out. As we reached the car, I heard Mark and his parents scrambling, pleading for forgiveness, but I didn't turn around. At my parents' house, my mother embraced me tightly. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I should have been there for you sooner. No, Mom. I should have come to you for help long ago, I answered, tears streaming down my face. For the first time in years, I felt safe. My parents reassured me that everything would be okay. Over the next few weeks, my father helped me finalize the divorce, ensuring Mark would pay child support and alimony. Katie and I stayed with my parents, and slowly life began to feel normal again. Katie thrived at her new school, making friends and laughing in a way I hadn't seen in years. I found new purpose working with my mother's jewelry design business. To my surprise, I discovered a talent for design, and with her guidance, I began to build a career. Months later, Mark tried to cause trouble again. He showed up at Katie's school, claiming to be her father and demanding to take her home. The school called me and I rushed over. When I arrived, he looked like a shadow of the man I once knew. Sarah, we need to talk, he pleaded. I've lost everything, my parents, the store, the house. We can fix this for Katie's sake. I saw right through him. He didn't care about us. He wanted his old life back. We're not getting back together, Mark. It's over, I said firmly. You're making a mistake. You need me, he snapped, his anger boiling over. I don't need you. I never did. Katie and I are fine without you, I replied. And with that I walked away. That was the last time I saw him. In the years that followed, Katie and I built a new life. She thrived in her new school, and I found success in my mother's business. One day, Katie told my father she wanted to travel the world with him. You'll need to learn fluent Japanese first, he teased. I'm already working on it, Grandpa, she replied with a smile. For the first time in years, our lives were filled with peace, love, and laughter. We were finally free, and that was enough for me. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Stay amazed.